This logo, which has for no good reason changed with every edition, came into being by way of a regional-wide competition which was won by an Antiguan ad agency. It depicts a hand rising from Mother Earth to grasp Father Sun. It is a symbol of the fierce will to fashion destiny. Youth is central to such an aspiration, and sure enough, a 4-year-old was the youngest performing participant in the first CARIFESTA, Yves L'Espoir. Another was 6-year-old Brian Hood, who, it is reported, displayed an astonishing mastery of the only musical instrument to be created in the 20th century, our very own steel pan. His father led his own steel orchestra in Grenada and taught him well. More than 2,000 children were involved in the pageant of the people, and a complex of 6 buildings served as Youthville, a hive of activity for youth where art in action was on offer. Woman power was front and center, on full scintillating assertion at this festival. Miss Lou, the well-known and much-loved Jamaican folklorist, was a special guest of the government of Guyana, as was Edna Manley, wife and mother of 2 Caribbean prime ministers, whose life's work greatly contributed to the regionalization of the visual arts. A future principal of the ERB School of Art, Kite Gard, was a graduate of the school named for her in Jamaica. She came offering scholarships to that school. Our own Auntie Kamsi was large and in charge in her performances with Miss Lou, and singing Francine of Trinidad and Tobago received encore after encore. The women came with children. Reports indicate that audiences packing the halls night after night poured forth their enthusiastic appreciation for these expressions of womanhood as expressed in widely varying ways. Miss Lynette Dolphin, an accomplished musician, long-standing cultural administrator, and one of the first recipients of the Golden Arrow of Achievement, was the director of CARIFESTA 1 and ran a tight ship. The Barbadian and Jamaican dance performances showed a strong stamp of professionalism throughout the presentations of both modern and traditional dance. The graceful spontaneity of the dance's movements belied the exacting discipline and intense practice involved. The big reveal for us was our dire need for training. One dancer choreographer, who came to CARIFESTA with the Haitian delegation, became the longest staying CARIFESTA participant and was responsible for training the Guyana Dance Theatre. Such was the familiarity in the movements and gestures of the dance across delegations, it encouraged the idea that CARIFESTA could play a pivotal role in promoting greater unity and result in benefits in more wide-ranging ways, not least of which was economic. It revealed also the breadth of diversity in a region with strong commonalities of history, economics, and politics. How these differences and similarities will shape the search for identity is what is generally hoped CARIFESTA will help people to grapple with going forward. So enthralled were we by the steeping in the affirmations of ourselves that this festival was. One man in the street comment by Miss Donna Miniz, as reported in the Daily Chronicle of 1st September 1972 was, "A change has come over Guyana since CARIFESTA. I wish CARIFESTA could stay for a long time." An exhaustive range of creative expressions was presented to the delight of audiences, and drama was no exception. Just as with our experience of dance, drama had a decisive effect on us. 9 plays came. Mostly, they all couched in farce and riotous farce, profoundly serious social commentary. The experience of seeing halls packed to capacity night after night led local entrepreneurs for decades after to put on mostly belly laugh plays at the cultural center. This experience changed the character of Guyanese theatre and the demographics of its audience. When, many years later, Tony Hall brought his play, Jean and Dinah, one of the finest pieces of Caribbean social commentary theatre, to the cultural center, it was booed off stage, did not survive one night's run. The plays which came to CARIFESTA 1, however, were all very well-crafted productions based on the realities of the underclass of the Caribbean, but cast in comedic context. The following is what the Trinidadian intellectual Dr. Errol Hill had to say in the press at the time. To my mind, Michael Gilkes' Couvade, A.J. Seymour's Legend of GIHR, Roderick Walcott's Banjo Man, and the performances by the Jamaican Dance Company reflected the high standards and seriousness of Caribbean culture. In these works, serious attempts were made to mold the racial and cultural ancestry which encapsulated the spirit of CARIFESTA. Interestingly, Count Ozzy and the mystic revelation of Rastafari were welcomed with open arms by Guyana's officials and entranced the audience with polyrhythmic drumming whilst eschewing any audience applause, as was their custom as Rastafarians doing the Creator's work. Drums, though, the sound of drumming was the predominant sound of CARIFESTA. The carved Pinti drums of Suriname, the painted Assator drums from Haiti, and the drums which came with every country delegation without exception practically, were ever present filling the soundscape of the streets. Choirs and orchestras were prominent too. Some concerts were held in the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, and again the wide diversity was evident. The grip, however, that the colonial powers had on us in the region to varying degrees was such that it led the headlines of the Barbados Advocate of 5th September 1972 to scream, "Feared voodoo took over at CARIFESTA." The article went on to say, "Feared rituals and practices rooted in Black Africa and widely regarded as evil by Western civilization found expression on the CARIFESTA stage with performances by Haiti, Suriname, and Antigua. The fact is that nearly every contingent brought in some aspect of their presentation a performance rooted in Black Africa. Dr. René Picon, the leader of the Haitian delegation, gave an impassioned defense of Obia as a religion like any other in the press at the time. Obia is legal and openly practiced in Guyana. CARIFESTA 1 was of tremendous benefit to Guyana and to the region, but it has fallen far short of the aspirations the artists shaping it in 1970 aspired to for the region.